basic tutorial today of how to cut and make stickers with your Silhouette Curio. I usually use vinyl, so we'll start with that. We're gonna be in the studio right now. This is what you get with the software with the program and stuff like that with the machine. First, let's start off. This is a basic template. This is as big as the original pad that they give you to cut. It's 8.5 by 6 inches. We have over here the design page settings. We have it as the automatic Curio. We have it as landscape because that's how we're going to be cutting. And you don't have to have the grid, but it just shows me. I usually don't have the grid on there, but when I do put it back on, it shows me how big it is and how big I need to cut my vinyl. And right now we'll take off the grid, so it just gives you a plain sheet so you have room to work. Now I have pre-saved and already designed stuff, so we'll start from there. You go to your library and I have my own designs. You also have downloads, so whatever you download from the store and whatnot. So I go to my own designs. We're gonna do this Jeep guy. Double click it, and there it is. Now let's look at how big it is. And to move it, because I don't want it right there, so to move it, click on the lettering. Now if you click on outside of the lettering, it's not gonna select the image. So you click on the lettering, it gives you how big it is, 7.5 by 3.5 inches. But I don't want it that low. I want to try to put it up as far as I can go, but it won't be off the page. You click off of it. This was already pre-made. It was pre-made in the studio because the studio gives you all the default fonts that you will find in Microsoft Word, basically. And my husband did this one earlier. So we have this. You can make it as big as you want. You could click on it, and this is how big it's on the PT. This is how big it is. Your character spacing is exactly the same, but you can make it so the spacing, there's a bigger spacing. See how it's bigger, you could space it out. So let's go back to 100% because I like the way it is. This little gap right here in the vinyl, it's not a big problem, but that's just something you have to watch out for when you're peeling up your vinyl. So we have this. I'm gonna cut my vinyl from 3 inches to 8.5 inches, which is good because then it gives you enough space to play around with the vinyl and play around with stuff like that. So we don't have to have the grid back on. Now, well, I actually like it to show. Now, you have to set up your cut settings. So to set up your cut settings, you have to go all the way over here to the cut settings. Now, this red line is showing where it's gonna cut. Now you don't want to cut edge because it's gonna go around that. It's not gonna be as precise. You wanna go cut, it's gonna cut close to what you want, to exactly how you want it. So you have the tool one, because with the Curio you have 2 tools. But most of the time you're going to be using one if you're only going to be using one thing. Now, over here where it says material type, you're going to have your vinyl Silhouette brand. I don't use the Silhouette brand. I use Oracle 651 because they have the matte black and white. Now, Silhouette brand is going to automatically default it because it's a lot thinner to your ratchet blade, which is 1. And then it's automatically going to default the thickness to 10. Now, I don't like that. I never liked that vinyl. That vinyl is like paper. So I already have it preset at, well, I want it at 2. I went through many trial and errors. So I want it at 2, and this is right. It's gonna stay like this, 2, 1, 1. We'll explain that later on in the video. Now, my thickness, I always put up to 11 because usually 10, it doesn't cut deep enough, or it does cut deep enough, but it's still gonna catch. It doesn't give me a clean swipe when I take off the excess vinyl. And the speed, because we're just doing letters, I like to kind of put it up as a higher speed because it's just letters. It doesn't have to be as accurate. If you was doing something that's more detailed, you'll want it slower so the ratchet blade doesn't catch. Double cut, no. This overcut, you don't want that. I mean, you can do that if you want. It doesn't really matter. But, I mean, I do sometimes if I'm doing something to the extreme. If it's big and I don't want the vinyl to, if I'm using too much vinyl type. So now, since we got all that prepared, we're gonna go to send to Silhouette. Now my media is not loaded yet, so we'll stop there. Okay, now that we're at the machine, we have all the stuff that we need. Here's the vinyl, the Oracle 651, intermediate cal. It's matte black. I like matte black over glossy. And then we have the ratchet blade. Here's the numbers that I was talking about earlier. It's easier if you just use this right here to line up the arrow, put it on 2, and then you're good to go. And what you do with this is already pre-cut to 3 inches by 8 inches. So just put it on. Just use a card. And when you lay it down, just make sure it's in the top left corner or wherever you put your image in the studio, however you want it. Since I put it up in the corner, I'm gonna put it in the corner. Okay, so the ratchet blade is already set. You want to put it in red. Remember earlier I said that there was 2 different tiers. You want to put it on the red one, which is the first one. So you just slip it in, make sure it's unlocked, and now it's locked. So you take your board, and there's a little notch right here. You have to push it all the way in, past here, past that notch, so it registers. Doesn't matter how far you go in, it doesn't matter. And you come over here, and the second button in, you want to press, and then it loads. It's already loaded to the point. So finally on your media, that's when you could start. That's when you could press start. Okay, to unload it, you have to press the middle button again, or else it won't let you bring it out. Okay, now with the finished product, you see how it says Jeep Guy. I use an X-Acto knife. You can get a weeding tool, but I just find the X-Acto knife is a lot easier. Start from a corner, doesn't really matter which corner. I find it the right corner, or whatever hand you write with is easier. So then you roll it out, and it takes the excess with it. Now with the X-Acto is where you want to get right here in between the P. So I just get it up there and then pull it out. Okay, so I use contact paper. I get the contact paper I got it from Home Depot. Clear matte, so you can see it when it comes through. So let me cut this down. Doesn't really matter how big you have it. If it goes over, it goes over, because it doesn't really matter. But it's a pain because it's so flimsy to get it. So what I do, I just take the X-Acto knife and just bring up a corner a little bit. That's why I always cut excess of it. And then you peel it off. And then you try to put it on. Usually squeeze it so it gets all over it. And that's when you use a card. I have a regular, it's an old school card of my husband's. Squeegee it on. Try to squeegee it as much as you can without ruining it, because it will catch. Because I found that if you don't do it as hard as you can, trying to get it up on the contact paper, it'll stay on the backing, the white backing. Let's get this back up off the paper, or off the Silhouette stick guide thing, cutting guide. So we have this. And then before trying to put it down again, because it'll come up as you're peeling it off the board. And that's when you try to take it down as far as you can. See it? And then take it up. It really helps when you get all the air bubbles out, or try to get all the air bubbles out. See, then with this, the black is gonna go over, so I'm gonna do an example over here on my machine. And then you apply it, try to do, like, split it in half. If it's a bigger vinyl, then you can start from one side, but in this case, it's just letters. And then with this, do the same thing, but now you're trying to just get it onto your surface. Now you're trying to get all the, make sure it's not connecting, make sure it's not sticking to the contact paper when you drag it up. So now you want to, with this that I learned as well, you want to hold it down and then take it off from the side like this. So that way, because when you pull it up, the letters come with it. If you have some air bubbles, you could get those out. It's a little dusty. That's an example. You need to clean your surface first, because as you can tell, I didn't. Stuff underneath it. This is just an example. Then take it. See, like this one was a clean surface. It has no air bubbles, but this, it has stuff underneath. And that's that. Thanks you guys for watching my video. This is just the first of many. Next time I'll go more into detail, as if we were to take something that's on the internet and how we're gonna cut it and be more detailed and stuff like that. So thanks for watching. Subscribe, like if you liked it. Thanks.